Dear students, back to your history class once again. In the last class, we have discussed a lot of details about the rise of nationalism in Europe. But today we have another chapter from our history, that is nationalism in India, that is in our own country. And we know that our country got freedom in 1947, and we all again also know that it is not an extremely soon or an immediate incident. Years or centuries of hard work of many of our national leaders made or brought our country with the freedom. So here we have lots of points from this chapter, but it is not a lot about the back history. Here we are studying only the important incidents that took place in India from 1920 to 1947. That's all. So, in order to get a continuation of our topic, we need to study a little bit more points about Indian history and also the world history here. So, we can study that. From the last lesson we studied, nationalism spread in Europe mainly because of the important revolutionary leaders and the political or social conditions of their country. We studied about the unification of Italy or Germany or the formation of UK, etc. Where we studied that lots of wars were there and also the social system or the political condition of their nation were not suited for a group of people to feel that they are a part of a nation. Because many of the either the northern part or the southern part etc. of that nations were ruled by outsiders. So here we are studying that reason for rising nationalism in India is not with the outsiders, especially those who are ruling here and there, but it is mainly focused on a common factor that is known as colonialism or colonization. During those time, India was a colony of Britishers. Britishers had a number of colonies across the world. So in India, rise of nationalism can be termed as a fight against colonialism also. There is an immediate or an intimate relation between colonialism in one side and the ideas of nationalism in another side. So the conflict or the anger towards colonialist masters turned as nationalism in India. So let us start our lesson with the important incident that happened in world from 1914 to 1918. That is known as First World War. That was considering as one of the important stage from where nationalist feelings started to spread across India mainly. Because during that 4 years of continuous war, lots of problems were there across the world and in India too. One of the most important problems that our Indians faced during those time was the increasing taxes by the Britishers. Because Britishers were one of the important participants of First World War. They need to meet many of their war expenses. To find that money, in order to raise the money or in order to raise all these expenses for war, they find it easy to increase different type of taxes in India. So, increasing taxation in order to meet their war expense by British is or was considering as one of the reason or one of the problem that Indians faced during those time. And another important factor or problem that our Indians faced during those time was that Britishers forced our people from village area to be a part of or to become soldiers. That is known as forced recruitment. Forced recruitment means appointing or compelling a group of people to be a part of army without having no any permission or without having no any consent from their side. As our village people were extremely poor people and also farmers had no any training or had no any early experience to be a soldier. So that was another reason for Indians to think about their pitiable condition. And the third one was that due to almost all the villages were across the world away from their farm area, due to all these conditions, one another great tragedy that Indian people faced during those time was shortage of food grains. because as all the farmlands were left without having no any farmers, as they are busy with the waging war, all the farmlands were left without having no any activities there. So the shortage of food grain led to another problem of raising the prices of food grains, that again put the common people in trouble. So major three problems that our Indians faced during those period between 1914 to 1918 during the first World War was that one is increased taxation, second one is forced recruitment, and the third one is shortage of food grains. These three reasons considering or contributed by First World War to rise of nationalism in India. And later, just after First World War, people believed that all these sufferings will be came to an end when the First World War came to an end, and they will get a little bit relaxations, and sometimes they also hoped that we will get freedom too. But all their hopes were failed, and what they hoped was not at all happened, and something more beyond their expectations happened here. All such situations led our Indians to think about to get freedom from all these different type of problems that creating by the outsiders, especially Britishers, and they started to think about formation of a nation by their own, where they have full freedom, and once they also had all such glorious past. So First World War or the colonial rulers together created a sense of nationalism in Indian mind. As in case of every changes that is happening in our surroundings, there will be the presence of some great personalities. Here in case of getting nationalism a little bit widespread throughout India, we also have the presence of our great person, that is Gandhiji. He was in South Africa till 1915, and he came back to India in 1915 when the First World War was going on. And he also came to hear about many of the problems of our common people that they were facing with the facing or creating by the Britishers throughout India. So he also had a experience in South Africa that conducting a particular type of fight or a kind of agitation against Britishers. But always we are hearing about agitations will be a little bit more attacking size or provoking, and also will be a kind of destructive. But the method followed and practiced by Gandhiji is entirely different from all the early experiences of people. So the practice or the new idea or the new method of agitations against somebody else introduced and practiced by Gandhiji in India, which was successful in South Africa, was a term called satyagraha. So when Gandhiji came back to India, he believed that problems of Indians also can be solved through practicing satyagraha here. But before entering into the problems of Indians and to get a solution, he was advised by his political guru, Gopalakrishna Gokhale, that it's better to conduct a travel or a journey throughout India in order to find out the real problems of people and also to find out a solution for them. So in 1917, Gandhiji started his first journey to Bihar, where he could find a group of people, especially a group of people called indigo cultivators in the Champaran district of Bihar. And the problem that they were suffering, that the extreme fertilized soil of that Bihar and Champaran areas were turned into indigo cultivation, and it was nothing, or what you can say, not useful for any other cultivations. And the prices for these indigo also were very less, and many other taxations also were there for the indigo people. So people in Champaran were really waiting for a great leader to give a leadership for them to fight against the British. So Gandhiji decided that it will be a good chance for him to introduce his new idea or new method of fighting against any kind of enemy, that is satyagraha. So in 1917, the first satyagraha by Gandhiji happened or taken place in Champaran. So Champaran satyagraha is the first satyagraha started by Gandhiji and it was successful. So people also got more confidence to be a part of Gandhiji's activities. So in 1918, another important satyagraha happened in Kheda district of Gujarat. It was also for a group of people from mill workers. That also was success. And in the same year, in 1918, Gandhiji conducted one more satyagraha in Gujarat itself, that is in Ahmedabad. It was also a support that he was given to the mill workers of Ahmedabad area. And that Ahmedabad satyagraha is considering as the first hunger strike satyagraha by Gandhiji practiced in India. These three satyagrahas gave full support for Gandhiji from the different group of people, not only from the elite class or the richest section or the educated, but he got support and confidence and more eager participation from the common people too. So these first three satyagrahas were successful. That's why Gandhiji considered it can be practiced in different other parts of India to make solution for the problems of Indians. During the First World War, as Britishers were very busy with the war activities, they didn't get much time to introduce any more changes in India during that time. And it gave a chance for the Indians to enlarge their power, and also lots of national leaders emerged and lots of revolts happened in different parts of India. So when the First World War came to an end, Britishers find it difficult to suppress or to control the increasing national activities throughout. That's why in 1919, mainly to get all the important national leaders under their custody, a new rule was passed by the British government, that is called Rowlatt Act. As per this act, British government had enormous power to arrest any of the Indian leaders without having no reason, and that person can be put in jail for minimum 2 years without any trial. Such a unlawful rule was made by 1919 through the name Rowlatt Act. So it was considered as one of the greatest tragedy for Indian national leaders. And Gandhiji decided to conduct a nationwide hartal on April 6th, 1919 to fight against or to show the protest of Indians against this new rule. And lots of activities just like the closing down of shops or number of strikes across India against every of the important British officials or British officers etc. started. As the strike of people started across North India, it was very difficult for the Britishers to control the nationwide activities, mainly as they had a number of leaders in those times. So one of the most important steps that the Britishers taken during those time was to arrest the local leaders first, and many important leaders were banned to enter into Delhi and especially into that northern part of India together. And on April 10th, 1919, one another tragedy that the Britishers happened or taken during those time was that one of the peaceful procession of Indians was fired upon by the police of Amritsar. While it happened, the British Indians become so angry and they provoked against the Britishers, and they started to destroy almost everything in front of them as a symbol of British. So as the situations were out of their control, General Dyre took the command of that locality and martial law was imposed. And on April 13th, the greatest tragedy that happened in India, especially considering as one of the most black mark on Indian history, happened in 1919 April 13th. That is known as Jallianwala Bagh massacre. What happened on the day that lots of people from different areas of Punjab and the nearby areas together gathered in that Jallianwala Bagh. As it is a time for a Baishagi festival, they gathered there in order to enjoy. And due to one another reason also for their gathering in that locality was that due to this Rowlatt Act, major two important national leaders of that Punjab locality was arrested by British. One person is Dr. Saifuddin Kichliu and Dr. Satyapal. These two great national leaders of Punjab locality was arrested by British. So the people, especially the people from village areas, lost their leader. So they gathered in that Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Jallianwala Bagh, mainly to discuss a solution for their problems and also to demand the Britishers to release their leaders. And they were really annoying about all the martial law introduced by British during those times. So hearing about such a large gathering in that locality, General Dyre came to that place with the possible military. And the importance of that particular area is that they have only one entrance. All the other areas or the different side of that Wala bag or the bag was closed and only one entry was there. So without having any information passed to that people, the one entry was closed with soldiers, and General Dyre was ordered the policemen to fire upon the innocent people. They had no any arms with that gathered people there. So as it was a shock, lots of people ran here and there and lots of people lost their life in that firing. And General Dyre described that he ordered the people to fire upon the people till the ammunition is finished. That was considering as, or that heard, or that came to be as an incident as Jallianwala Bagh massacre. When the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, people from North India, especially from Punjab and the remaining areas or neighboring areas, came towards the streets and different areas together, and they lost their control and started to do whatever violent activities as they can. They believed that it is a chance for them to show their anger towards the Britishers in its maximum style. And number of clashes or strikes etc. were commonly going on, and they started to destroy whatever buildings in front of them as a symbol of Britishers happened or came in front of them. So Britishers also were forced to retaliate in the same coin, just like making whatever terrorized activities in front of the Indian satyagrahis to get a control over them. Lots of brutal measures were started by the Britishers over all the satyagrahis, and number of humiliating activities were already practiced by British during this time. So while hearing all these sad news, Gandhiji decided to stop the movement that he started against the Rowlatt Act or Rowlatt Rule. But when all these situations were going on here and there, Gandhiji decided that it is not possible to continue their fight against the Britishers with one group of people alone. That means whatever satyagrahas or whatever activities were going on in different part of India, the major important participation came from the educated people or people from the cities or towns alone mainly. So Gandhi believed that along with one section, that is not only under the control of Indian National Congress, the representatives or the participation from other different sections of Indian society also need to get together to fight against the British. So Gandhiji believed that this is a good chance to make the issue of khilafath as one of the important chance to get the support of Muslim community in India. Khilafath issue is that just after the First World War, the most important lost country after First World War was Ottoman Turkey. They lost their empire, and the leader, that is Khalifa of Turkey, was totally humiliated by the Britishers, and he lost his position as the leader of or the spiritual leader of Muslim community. So in order to give a moral support for this Khalifa in Turkey, the Muslim League in India started a movement called the Khilafath movement under two important leaders called Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, popularly known as Ali brothers. It happened in 1920 under Muslim League. And they believed that in order to make their fight against the Britishers and also to give their maximum support to Khalifa, Muslims support or Muslims participation is not enough. Need to get the support of other communities in India. So these two brothers, that is Ali brother Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali started their talk or discussion with Gandhiji to make a fight join together against the British. The same was waiting for by Gandhiji also. So in 1920, Calcutta session of Indian National Congress, in that Calcutta session, Gandhiji proclaimed that a united fight against Britishers in the form of khilafath movement in one side and a non-cooperation movement in another side going to launch in the next year onwards as a fight against Britishers joined by Hindus and Muslims together. So both these Ali brothers and Gandhiji together decided to fight or to show their whole side support against Britishers by Khilafath non-cooperation movement. Khilafath non-cooperation movement was considered as one of the important mass movement that came in practiced in India under the leadership of Gandhiji. Lots of different participants were there from different corners of India. So lots of points need to discuss in the areas of Khilafath and non-cooperation movement that we can do in the next class. So children, let us wind up now. We can continue the remaining portions of the chapter in the next class. So study well. Thank you. Have a nice day.